is literal equations and dimensional analysis. We're really going to focus on that literal equations today. It is a tough lesson. It's kind of a mind shift. Instead of solving for a variable given a number, we're actually solving for a variable. So let's get started. We're actually going to do things a little bit backwards. We're actually going to start with a checkpoint. And this is from lesson 2.7. What I want you to do is take a minute to solve this question. It is a discount and a tax problem. So remember how to do those, and then save your answer, and you are going to record it in the Google form at the very end of the lesson. All right, let's get started. Previous objective was to solve equations with variables on each side. And what you need to write down for today's objective is to solve equations for given variables. And the second objective is to use formulas to solve real-world problems. Again, just a reminder to pause the video at any time that you feel I'm going too fast. The vocabulary word in today's lesson is literal equation. A literal equation is a formula or equation that involves several variables. Now there's a few different types of problems that you're going to be doing, but basically it's the same concept as solving for that given variable. So we're going to go through a few problems together. We're going to have you try some on your own. And remember, if you feel confused or have any questions along the way, make sure you write them down so we can answer them tomorrow in class during work time. Let's get started. First example is 5b plus 12c equals 10, and we're actually solving for b. 5b plus 12c equals 10. I'm going to draw my line down the equal sign. If I need to isolate b, the first thing I'm going to do is to subtract 12c from both sides. Keep in mind, 10 is a constant by itself. Negative 12c is a whole different term. We cannot combine these two on the right-hand side. I have a 5b left on this side, and I have 10 minus 12c left on this side. Now, if I need to solve for b, the last step I need to do is divide both sides by 5. I get b equals 10 minus 12c divided by 5. So that is an example of solving a literal equation. We solve for the given variable, which in this case was the letter b. Let's move on to another example. I have 7x plus y equals 2x plus z. And we are solving for z this time. Now in this case, I have a z on this side, so I'm going to move things to the left side. And I have a 7x already on this side. Now, some of you are getting confused and wanting to combine like terms that you can't. In this case, a 7x minus a 2x simplifies to 5x. I have a y left on this side, and the only thing left on this side is a z. This one was pretty simple. It was just one step. We got z isolated, and our answer was z equals 5x plus y. Let's move on to a more difficult problem. I have 3x minus 2y equals xz plus 5. Now in this case, I'm solving for x, and notice I have an x on both sides. So I can either bring the 2y to the right or I can move the 5 to the left. I am going to get rid of this negative and add 2y to both sides. This gives me a 3x on this side, and on this side I have my xz, I have my 5, and I have my 2y. There's nothing over here that I can simplify or add together. Well, if I have one x on this side, I need to bring the other x to that side as well. So I'm going to subtract an xz from both sides. This gives me 3x minus xz equals 5 plus 2y. Now, I need to get x by itself. What we're going to do is we're going to undo the distributive property. So I'm going to pull an x out and then see what I have left. What times x will give me 3x? The answer is 3. What times x will give me a negative xz? And the answer is a negative z. Notice I'm just going to redo the distributive property and show you that x times 3 gives me 3x, and x times a negative z will give me a negative xz. Now I did this and I excluded or eliminated that x and got it all by itself. I isolated the variable. On this side I still have 5 plus 2y. And now on the left side I can divide both sides by 3 minus z. And this leaves me with only x on this side because these would cancel out. So my answer is x equals 5 plus 2y divided by 3 minus z. So notice how some problems are very simple. They can be solved in one step. Some problems are a little bit more complicated. You need numerous steps to isolate that variable. Let's move on. This example, we have 10ac minus x divided by 11 equals a negative 3. So in this case, I'm going to draw my line down the equal sign. I'm going to get rid of this 11 right off the bat. And I have 10ac left on this side minus x equals negative 3 times 11 is negative 33. Now if I need to solve for a, I'm going to add the x to both sides and get rid of that x. It's 10ac on this side equals a negative 33 plus x. Notice how it is not negative 33x. They are two different terms. So make sure you don't write negative 33x. Now to isolate and get a by itself, I can divide this side by 10c. Divide this side by 10c's. And I'm just left with a on the left side. My answer is negative 33 plus x divided by 10c. All right. We are going to have you try one now. We're at our first checkpoint. So what I want you to do is pause the video and solve for D. See what you get, and then we'll come back together and make sure you got the same answer as I did. All right, hopefully you've paused the video. Let's try to see if we can get the same thing. So if I need to get D by itself, I am going to start by subtracting a D from both sides. This brings down the 5c. 3d's minus 1d is 2d's minus 1. So if I need to solve for d, I'm going to add 1 to both sides. Again, a reminder, 5c plus 1 is not 6c. It is 5c plus 1. They are terms that we cannot combine. And I have 2d left on this side. If I have to solve for d, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And my answer, 5c plus 1 divided by 2 equals D. Hopefully you got the same answer as I did. Now the next checkpoint I want you to try is the one where you have to undo the distributive property. So pause the video and try this one on your own, and then we'll come back together and see if you got the same answer as I did. All right, hopefully you've paused the video. I am going to go ahead and start solving this. All right, I'm going to draw that line down the equal sign. All right. I am going to, let's see, I'll start by subtracting the 3c from both sides. Getting that over to the right side. So I have 12a left on this side. I have a 2ab. I have a positive 6 and a negative 3c. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move my a's over to the left side. So I'm going to subtract 2ab from both sides. This gives me 12A minus 2AB equals, I have 6 minus 3C. Now if I need to isolate A, what I'm going to do is undo the distributive property. And I'm going to say A times what will give me 12A? The answer is 12. 12 times A gives me 12A. Now I have a negative sign here. What times a negative 2AB will give me, or times A will give me negative 2AB, and the answer is negative 2B. Negative 2B times A would give me negative 2ABs. The right side doesn't change. I divide both sides by a 12 minus 2B to eliminate or isolate that A by itself. And my answer is A on the left side equals 6 minus 3C divided by 12 minus 2B. And there's one last step here. 6 divided by 12 simplifies to 1/2. So you could have 1 minus 3C divided by 2 minus 2B. Again, this 6 over 12, or 6 divided by 12, simplifies to 1/2. So this is actually the correct answer that I would want to see on your paper. If you made it to this far and didn't quite simplify, you're on the right track, and we'll get through all those questions tomorrow in class and make sure that you get the right answers in class tomorrow. We are going to move on to the second part, which is our real world examples. So the question says a car's fuel economy, E represents miles per gallon, is given by the formula E equals M divided by G, where M is the number of miles driven and G is the number of gallons of fuel used. Solve the formula for M. So basically what they want you to do is, if I have E equals M divided by G, actually I'm going to delete this because I have it all written out. So if E equals M divided by G, that's the formula. And if you multiply both sides by G, you get M equals E times G. And this is your simplified answer. They wanted you to solve for M. So we shifted the G to both sides to solve for M. That's the first part of the problem. The second part of the problem says, if Quanah's car has an average fuel consumption of 30 miles per gallon and she has used 9.5 gallons, how far did she drive? Well, we're going to go back to that original equation of E times G equals M, and that is the formula for how many miles she's driven. So we're going to plug in 30 for our E and 9.5 for our G. We multiply them together and we get 285 miles. Again, if I go too fast, make sure you get this formula down, because your next question is your Google form question, and this is your open-ended question. Referring back to that formula of E equals M times G, or if Quanah drove 1,477 miles and her pickup has an average fuel consumption of 19 miles per gallon, how many gallons of fuel did she use? So again, refer back to the original question, plug in the values that you have, and they're asking how many gallons of fuel did she use? If you have any questions, we'll make sure to answer them tomorrow in class. But make sure you have your notes written down. We'll check them tomorrow, as well as your Google answers on the Google form, and go over any questions tomorrow in class. Thanks and have a good night.